my god. You're going to jail, Greg. You're going to jail, Greg. Oh my god. Have you guys ever seen this meme? I just feel like this meme embodies everything about this hearing with dumb Harrison Floyd. Fani Willis tapped that ass. As Roland Martin would say, she tapped that ass. And Roland, it's so ironic because I just watched, and I'm sorry guys, the washing machine is going. I didn't have time to do a deep dive, but I had to put my thoughts in here real quickly about this hearing with dumb Harrison Floyd. And it's so ironic because yesterday I watched a video from Roland Martin, who I love, and he was talking to a black MAGA supporter, and he was trying to have a sensible conversation with him. But just like most conversations where you try to have a sensible and thought-provoking argument based in reality, based in facts, with a MAGA extremist or somebody who is a MAGA sort of sympathizer, if you will, it just goes nowhere. And I literally, the guy, okay, I will tell you his name in 1 second. Michael Hill. So Michael Hill is the assistant chief investigator for Fulton County District Attorney's Office, and he was the first witness to do a testimony. And the way he walked out and sat down, and I have to caveat this because I know that there's going to be those trolls that roll up in the comments, even though I'm black, and be like, you showed a picture of a dog and talked about a black guy. You're racist. Oh my God, people. Pick up some books. No, I'm not trying to be racist here. It's not about dogs, not comparing black people to dogs, not comparing politicians to vermin like Hitler. But this meme has been this meme has been having me laughing for like years at this point. Years. When I'm having a bad day, I pull up this meme. So no, I'm not trying to diss anybody. This is not racist. But just take a look at this meme. So somebody says, Googled dog swearing and wasn't disappointed. His look of determination. Like, you're going to jail, Greg. Those were the vibes I was getting. This dog, I mean, his face is so serious. He's so cute, and like the little paw swearing on the Bible. I mean, come on, you got to know that that's hilarious. But anyway, the vibe of Fani Willis tapping this dude's ass, you know, really tapping his dude's ass. And can I just go ahead and caveat and say, I find it absolutely reprehensible that the whole time during this hearing, Harrison Floyd is looking at Fani Willis, rolling his eyes. In the past, he's compared her to an Oompa Loompa. But the basis at hand, the facts at hand, is he went, after being thrown in a Fulton County jail, you would have think this dumb idiot would have realized, dude, this is serious. Like, put all of your pride aside. Put you trying to do puppet master dance for your white buddies in MAGA to say, hey, I'm the cool black guy. Put all of that aside. You're in deep-ish, dude. Like, maybe it's a good idea that you don't go on Twitter and spout off about this craziness. You know, like, this is really the battleground. I am so adamant in saying that this is the battleground to decide of whether we want democracy or whether we're willing to give up the beautiful country that we've grown up in. We haven't lived in the past 10 years. Not since Elon Musk's Twitter. Not since Donald Trump's MAGA. We haven't seen any. I mean, we see inklings of that past, that peaceful, united, indivisible under one God, America. We've seen glimpses of it, but it's been a far cry from really present since those two things. Just think about it. Donald Trump's MAGA, Elon Musk's Twitter. I'm being so serious right now. Like, And white women are the demographic. Moms for liberty, complacent housewives, all of y'all. Y'all are really the deciding factor right now of what's going to push America over the threshold, or if we're going to bring this back to, okay, we can all live together and get along, and we can have some sense of respect. These MAGA lawyers, the defendants in the RICO trial, they have no respect for the law. Harrison Floyd is here making eye rolls and all this stuff, even though he was the only one, the irony in this, the only black man in all this mess, and he is the only one who, his legal bills were not paid for. Donald Trump basically made it very clear that he doesn't give a ish about Harrison Floyd. And ironically, Yes, I can tell that Fani Willis actually cares about this man. She wants him to become a functioning, healthy, civic member of society again. I can tell that. I can see that. And you can see her passion for her civic duty and her role of office, and how she is so passionate about protecting witnesses. This is what this comes back to, and you have to remember this. She and many, many others, but not enough, are actually brave enough to say nobody should be having fear of walking out of their house because of Donald Trump. Nobody should be having fear of that. Nobody should be having fear of going to work, taking their kids to the mall, going to a concert. No one. But MAGA, especially, and I'm going to go back to that, I don't care how many trolls roll up in here, white women, you are the deciding factor. People want to say that black people and black women and black young people are the deciding factor for 2024. I cannot tell you how many of the most extreme MAGA, looking like white supremacist, crazy, swamp people, banging their fists and throwing crap on the wall, the equivalent of that on TikTok, spouting off about what Roseanne Barr is saying she's so insightful, and throwing out conspiracy theories, saying space lasers are coming, pushing the great replacement theory. I cannot name how many of those people have been white women. And I also cannot name how many white women that I grew up around, people in my community who are, for all intents and purposes, good people, but they just want to pretend and live in la la land like we're not about to go to World War III. And that complacency is really what is going to decide whether or not people are being slaughtered out in the middle of the street in 2024 or 2025. Donald Trump has made it very clear what his second term will look like. And white people, like, seriously, I have to say this because lots of the people who are watching this unfold and who are the peanut gallery and keyboard warriors, and talking about racism against white people, talking about how black people are racist with this thing, cheering on black puppets, black faces of MAGA racism, MAGA, white supremacy, the Harrison Floyds, the Tim Scotts, the young man who was on Roland Martin's show the other day. That is really just to coddle that insecurity of not wanting to think about slavery, not wanting to think about Jim Crow. Well, I have news for you. You have to think about it. You can't just live in la la land. And let me go ahead and tell you, while you're living in la la land, white people saying, oh, well, we're just going to support Donald Trump because he's our party leader, and we don't want to, we don't want to we don't want to ruffle the feathers, we don't want to get in bad with our family members or colleagues or, whatever it is who supports this guy. You're gonna learn, because first, maybe they will come for black people, Latino people, LGBTQ people, Arab people, Muslim people, Asian people. Maybe they will come for those people first. But you know what's going to be next right after that? Those colors, brown and black women. But you know what's going to be after that? White women. And you know what's going to be after that? White men who don't fall in line. It's destructive. Hate is so destructive, okay? Sitting here misquoting Martin Luther King quotes ain't going to do nothing. But I'm not going to go off on a tangent. Literally, this thing was so crazy. So you had Michael Hill, you had 3 testimonies, and I wish I could do a deep dive, but I'm just so busy. But Michael Hill was the assistant chief investigator of the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. He was the first one. Then you had Mr. Gabriel Sterling. He's the Georgia Secretary of State. And then you had Yvonne Dubose. He is the lawyer for Ruby Freeman. This is a snapshot of the type of tweets that dumbass Harrison Floyd put out, even though he was said, you cannot go out. I'm loosely quoting here. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know all the ins and outs, but I can understand the weight of this, the seriousness of this. He basically was said, shut your dang on mouth. Go out into the world. Don't open your mouth. Like, you cannot go up against the district attorney, the governor's office, the will of the American people, the U.S. Constitution. You can't just come in with your arbitrary made-up delusion, your conspiracy theories, trying to pay good boy for Donald Trump. I mean, that's what his whole comportment was in that courtroom. He just looked like a bad 2-bit version, black 2-bit, wannabe version of Donald Trump, rolling his eyes with this green suit. He's got people in these comments calling him a leprechaun. Come on, man. Come on. Come back. Black MAGA voters, it's not too late for you guys to come on back to us. Come on back to us over here. It's warm over here. Let me read you some of the stuff that people said that I thought was pretty funny. Listen to this. So, somebody said, listen, I'm gonna illustrate to you how they have no respect for the legal system, but how that misogynoir, that hate, that visceral hate towards black women is so deep, okay? First of all, the guy called her Fani. We've been seeing this for long enough. Maybe, there isn't an English name, an English child's name, that is known, that is Fanny, and it's spelled Fannie, okay? I know that. My grandmother's name was Willie, okay? It's the South, I get it, okay? Maybe you make that mistake once, but she and media sources have corrected this for almost a year now. It's Fanny, okay? So if you still have somebody there calling her Fanny, you know what that's about. It's not a mistake. And she actually called it out. She said, it's funny. She is really a true, black Atlanta woman. And she, Cassidy Hutchinson, these are Jen Psaki, these are the people who actually had, Letitia James, these are the people who actually had the cojones to speak up to bullies. That is what MAGA is. It is bullies. The schoolyard bullies. There's just a lot of them. And we got all of these men, especially older men, white men mostly, but black men too. Harrison Ford is an example of that. He's not necessarily older, but we've got men who don't have the gall to be brave enough to save American democracy. If you don't know that this is not about saving American democracy right now, he tried to overturn a free and fair election. How many hate crimes, mass shooting hate crimes happened during that time? Okay, and surprisingly, when he's in his reign of terror, the world is going insane. It's because the world is really dependent on America. If we're imploding with hate, with violence, how can anyone depend on us? Those lifestyles that people who support MAGA, those lifestyles that they've afforded in the past, it's not going to get better with MAGA. It's going to get worse. You want to be, I don't even know what they call themselves. Small government institutionalists. I mean, you don't want to be a globalist, whatever this globalist thing is, despite the fact that Donald Trump has made so much money off of exploiting, people working and producing things offshore. Despite the fact that he has made money off of a global brand, you guys want to throw American democracy away and the lifestyles that you've afforded because we are a global player within the economic world stage. That's what you want. You want a US version of Brexit, which is going to have massive world implications and have kids, white American kids, shivering and starving to death in the middle of the street. Is that what you want? But not even just white, all American kids, all kinds of American kids their parents not being able to heat up their homes because we've insulated ourselves into this little bubble because of tribalism and crazy MAGA delusion. No, I don't think that's what you want. There's still time for MAGA to save this. But the fact that he called her Fanny, I was just like, we already know what this is. The things that I've said when I've covered these other ones, I've said that they're just indignant. The lawyers, they show no respect for the legal system. They show no respect for the judge. They show no respect for the process. It's like nobody gave them the memo. But that this is the point that you should adopt some humility and say, I did wrong, accept your punishment, and hopefully try to move forward to be a better civic member of society, a better, healthy, functioning member of a civic society. Nobody gave them that memo. They're all playing Donald Trump, and it's not going to end well. Fulton County ain't going to let this go. But the fact that there have been so many women Those are the handful of people who have been brave enough to speak out about this. And yes, you got a few people like the Mitt Romneys. You got a few people like, who is it? Is it Chuck Schumer, who is the Speaker of the Senate? Anyway, you've got a couple of those. Sure, weaved in there. But, I mean, it's the fact that nobody is willing to speak up about this is atrocious. So somebody said in the comments, she needs to stop saying, But his bond should be revoked, should have been revoked. I don't understand why these judges are being so ignorant, so lenient. I'm sorry. It's embarrassing. Let me read that one more time. So somebody said, she needs to stop saying, but his bond should have been revoked. I don't understand why these judges are being so lenient. It's embarrassing. So somebody's talking about her saying, are you serious? Do you not understand how this is not blatant racism? You know, and how Donald Trump goes after black women, Fani Willis, Letitia James, Judge Chuckin. You know, it's very, very clear that some misogynoir is going on. We know it. I mean, it's been happening for forever. But somebody said below this, if saying is her only fault, she kicking much butt. She may lose this round, but she will tap that ass. That right there, I was like, bam, you said it. But listen to this tweet that Harrison Floyd actually put out. And this is just one of what seemed to be about at least a couple dozen of tweets that were very, very threatening, very menacing. They obviously were going to send more hate to Jenna Ellis, to the people who have already pled guilty, as well as Ruby Freeman. Hasn't this woman been through enough? Like, we know that she was just volunteering. She did her job correctly. She didn't try to overthrow some election. She wasn't passing fentanyl in a USB drive. Just stop with your idiocy. Just stop, okay? But still, you know, it gets some likes on Twitter. I cannot wait until Twitter goes down. I mean, it's going to happen. It's inevitable. And I think what we're learning from this, I'm going to wrap up with this. I think what we're learning with this is that the judicial system, the constitutions of our states, the constitution of the U.S. Constitution, it needs to adapt to a digital age. Okay? Because this is what, let me go ahead and give you an example. If people were doing what they do behind a screen, behind a keyboard warrior screen, if they did that in the streets, they would be in jail. If they were sending people death threats, if they were, screaming at people, pulling hair, sexually assaulting, or even just yelling and threatening to do those things, they would be put in jail. There would be ramifications. But somehow, when you put it on Twitter, which is on the world stage, which actually is not just heard by the people within, I don't even know, like within a 10-foot distance. It's on a world stage that we don't do anything about. And the judge, he did do something, but he said, you know what? He basically gave him a warning shot. He said, we're not going to revoke your bond, but we're going to change the standards of the agreement that we came to. And I think that's what needs to happen with our constitutions. It needs to be amended to allot for hate speech and threats within the social media landscape. I think that this is really the big lesson that we're taught. And horrible, atrocious, socially awkward people like Harrison Ford, like Elon Musk, they don't really see that. They don't see that spectrum of humanity, of the fact that, you cannot roll on this hate for forever. They don't see it as hate. They just see it as clicks and likes. They just see it as monetization. They just see it as more subscribers. They just see it as a longer term in this office. They don't see people, They don't see people. But listen to this. This is just one example of the atrociousness that Harrison Floyd said in some of these comments that he said, that some of the posts on Twitter that he posted after he got released out of jail. So it says, the comment reads, this is one of many. The comment reads, Miss Ruby needs a bodyguard or she's going to get Epsteined. Or Epstein. What does Epstein mean to you? So this is what Fani Willis was asking to Mr. Hill. And Mr. Hill responded, it refers to Jeffrey Epstein, who is a defendant, a convicted individual for sexual assault or crimes of a sexual nature. And he committed suicide years ago, in August of 2019. Who is this man, Harrison Floyd? Who is this man's parents? Who is this man's mother? Who is this man's grandmother? Because I have to wonder, how would he feel if someone who was completely innocent, who happened to be his mother or his grandmother, received a threat on Twitter that said that they need to hang themselves? And beyond that, Jeffrey Epstein, there's so much speculation about his death of whether he did hang himself. People say that somebody offed him in prison. If Harrison Floyd's mother or his grandmother was either offed in prison with that covered up as a suicide or committed suicide, how would he like someone having that made light of? I know that there's still humanity out there with some of you trolls and MAGA people who have rolled up in here. I know what I'm saying is getting to you. This does not have to be our country, and it certainly does not have to be it for Donald Trump. You still have time to make this better. And if you come in here talking about how gas was cheaper and food was cheaper when Trump was president, seriously, pick up a book and learn how inflation works. Okay? It ebbs and flows. It goes up and down. And it also is a direct result of a country's GDP. If billionaires who are authoritarian only want to push their causes forward, suck up the majority of the economy in a country, yeah, gas is going to be a little bit expensive. Who you should be mad at is the billionaire class that's ran by corrupt people like Donald Trump and Elon Musk, who do not have the ability to have empathy or compassion for anyone. So definitely don't think that they have compassion for you. But I feel like more people, like brave people like Fani Willis, like, Mitt Romney, like Liz Cheney, even like Chris Christie, who I'm not a big fan of, even like, Cassidy Hutchinson. I feel like more people are going to wake up to this, and they're going to realize that the cost of throwing our entire country down the toilet will eventually come back to them. You can support Donald Trump right now, but Donald Trump does not give a damn about you. He's just saving face for every single moment that he can to try and keep his head above water, But this is a bigger question about the law. Hate should not be geared towards Fani Willis. She's carrying out her duties correctly. I think we've just become so desensitized to politicians not carrying out their role and their loyalty, or what should be loyalty, to the U.S. Constitution, to people. Sometimes I think that gets lost in politics, is really thinking that these people represent people, making our streets safer, making our workplaces, more of a nice place to be around, for lack of a better way to say that, making it less violent on the street, less dangerous, making people respect one another as human beings, upholding the law, upholding their civic duties. That we've forgotten so much of what a good politician is supposed to do. Not a perfect politician. You win some, you lose some. But we've seen so much corruption from MAGA, from Donald Trump, from the Donald Trumps to the Mike Johnsons, to the Marjorie Taylor Greens. We've seen that for so long that we forget that they're supposed to enforce the law, and they're supposed to respect the law. We've been seeing such a lack of respect for the law. But you know what? Regulate Twitter. Go ahead and regulate it. I'm seeing people like Marjorie Taylor Greene receiving death threats, and I've said very long, and I know this sounds morbid, but hear me out. I think what it's going to take for us to reform the U.S. justice system, when it comes to guns and school shootings and things like that, it's going to take some people on the far right, gun advocates, to lose some of their people. And I know that sounds terrible, but it's like, I don't see what else will it I don't understand what else can happen, you know? That tribalism thing, that confirmation bias that happens in groups in your communities where you feel safer and more loved around people who look like you and talk like you. It's real. It's human nature. We have to somehow use our intellect that we've developed as we've grown from, you know, Neanderthals to where we are now, to, you know, sort of delineate between our instincts to be tribal and terrible, and to look at everyone and see, hey, can I give this person a chance? And I get that that's hard, but at some point you're gonna have to embrace that life is not black and white, and that there are gray areas all in between. But it seems like when these school shootings happen, and, you know, these were kids in a liberal district, these were kids in a mostly black area, Latino area. This shooting was at a gay club. You know, the people on the far right, the white, you know, people, conservative people on the far right, don't see any connection with that. So when those kids die, when those people die, it's just like, oh, yep, more people died. But is it gonna take them losing some people themselves to make it click for them? And I'm wondering the same about the safety of being online. It's so unsafe to be online now because hate is so rampant. So, you know, us who have been speaking out a bit against Donald Trump, you know, we've been getting a lot of hate for a very long time. But is it going to take now for people who have been defending Donald Trump, these extreme MAGA extremists like Marjorie Taylor Greene, is it going to take finally for them to start getting death threats, harassment online, for them to see, okay, something needs to be done about this. This needs to be regulated. So maybe we didn't win the war here, but this was a battle that was won, because it opened us up. More attention needs to be taken to see this. And you know who's suffering from this the most? From this toxic environment in social media that people like Harrison Ford engage in? It's babies. It's teenagers. Teenagers are committing suicide more than they ever have in American history. And they're all online. Like, something needs to be done. I know this resonates with people, but it doesn't take enough for you to just look and agree. You have to go out and vote. You have to talk to your legislators. You have to get on your city, go to your city council meetings, your city town halls. You have to go to those PTA meetings. You need to elect the right people into your school boards. This is your children. I mean, I know many of y'all out there got kids. This is serious. This is our future, you know, and it should not be in the hands of sadistic, insane, delusional people. I don't know. I mean, I did also want to wrap up and just say, like, just remember, you do have tangible change. You can make real change and make this country better. It's by voting. If anybody tells you different, if anybody tells you, oh, don't go vote, they have an agenda. They want to gerrymander you. They want to silence you. They want to take your vote out. I mean, look, they just overturned the biggest parts of the Voting Rights Act. I'm sorry, the Civil Rights Act, where entities can't sue anymore. They can't sue. It's only individuals. A hallmark part of the movement that people marched on Washington alongside Martin Luther King for, that people got sprayed and had dogs sicked on them, where, you know, martyrs like Emmett Till lost their lives being hung. You know, they just overturned part of that. This is happening. So, change really is affected when you get engaged. You don't elect sadistic, authoritarian, wannabe dictators, tyrannical people who don't seem to have any sense of human emotion in terms of empathy and compassion. They don't see people as people. They see people as additional clicks, likes, subscribers, followers, you know, constituents, whatever that is. Those are the bad people. And all of them are up for re-election in 2024 in the House of Representatives. All of them. Okay? All of them. Now, there's some wonderful people in the House of Representatives. Hakeem Jeffries, for example. Lots of other. Pretty much everybody on the Democratic side of the House of Representatives. They're cool. But on that red side, it's a hot mess. And they're all up for re-election in 2024. Vote them out in 2024. Bring in some Republicans who are more moderate, who actually want America to be able to have a functioning government, who don't hold America's government hostage with hot button issues like abortion and marijuana and tax cuts for the rich. Elect those Republicans and elect blue Democrats in 2024 and see that shift. See when Democrats control the House and see when there is a Democratic president in the office. Just see the difference. See if there's less mass shootings. See if there's less hate speech online. See if there is less trolls. Okay? See if there's less anxiety in your daily life. Okay? See if there's less discrimination when you're going out to get jobs or you're going to get loans. Go ahead and see that. And white people too. White people who are fighting so hard to maintain their middle class. See if your middle class doesn't improve. See if everything's just not so tense and heated. Almost like you're existing inside of a pressure chamber. Just see if you get more blue in 2024. And take that time to repair the deeply, deeply damaged Republican Party. See what happens. I want to know what y'all think. Let me know in the comments. And if you're new here, go ahead, hit that like, subscribe button, hit that bell so you know whenever I post a video. And I'll see you next time. Bye.